Well, a show that features a variety of fine handmade goods manufactured by skilled artisans from all around the nation is returning. It's taking place at Pretoria's Living Heritage Women's Museum in Sammy Marks Square. The expo, which goes by the name The Beautiful Things, is one of the major annual craft exhibitions in the country. The yearly show raises awareness of the enormous possibilities for entrepreneurship in the craft sector. And to tell us more about the exhibition, we're joined by Tshepi Mohlala, a project director of the exhibition. Tshepi, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining us this morning. The annual craft exhibition is back. What can you tell us about what we can expect?
Okay, The Beautiful Things, it's an exhibition that we've launched last week Thursday at the Women Living Heritage Monument, which features arts and crafters in South Africa, and we have about 25 artists from 7 provinces in the country showcasing their best of craft. And we've got an exhibition space and also a retail space. This is a collaboration between the Department of Arts and Culture, which they want to create a permanent space for arts and crafts in South Africa. So we've got a retail space and an incubation which is going to run till September. And we're inviting arts and crafters in South Africa to come and showcase their work.
Yeah, you know, arts and craft is such a rich part of South Africa's heritage. We have thousands and thousands of families that make means to a living through the arts and craft that they're able to create. I mean, artisanal creation is pretty much right into, seeped into our bones. How do you go about selecting which artists form part of the exhibition? You mentioned that about 27 artists are forming part of this year's exhibition. How do you even whittle down that selection to that group of 27?
It was a difficult process, I have to say, because there's so much to showcase in our country. So we went through the selection. The title of the exhibition is called Hands-On. And hands-on meaning it's people who, artists who are actually using their hands to actually create the works that we have selected. So through the Department of Arts and Culture, we had to go through each province and select works that would fit into our curatorial narrative for now. But it is not something that is limiting to the type of work that we are selecting. So it was a process of us just choosing the best of what we have.
Yeah. It's so interesting because the art exhibition itself, founded in 2002, at the time forming part of the Summit on Sustainable Development. So much of the messaging, the narrative that is essentially propelling this entire exhibition is, sustainability, which we know forms part of the 2030, goals for all countries to try and reach those sustainable developmental goals. Talk to us about how the exhibition contributes to that greater sort of global narrative as well.
So, when we selected, and I'm glad that you are asking that question about sustainability, because even the work that we chose, it sort of fits into that narrative of ESG, right? That we need to find ways where we create works that are environmentally friendly and they're sustainable as well. So when you look at craft in South Africa, we use things that we have. We use things from nature. When you look at wooden stuff, the clay work that we have selected, the ceramics that we have selected, and even jewelry that we have selected, it fits into that 2020-30 goal.
No, absolutely. I think the other important thing that I really don't want our viewers to miss is, of course, the advocacy that the exhibition is trying to push here for crafters to be taken more seriously as entrepreneurs, the role that they can play, in building South Africa's economy. I think oftentimes we see them from the purview of, tourists coming to South Africa, wanting to take back with them some or other artifact that will remind them of their time here in the country. But that is such a quintessential part of the experience of South Africa, that tourism experience that we're always talking about. Is enough focus being placed on the crafting sector to propel it to a height that it can be a real contender when we are talking about, South Africa's tourism and the entrepreneurial opportunities that are there?
Yeah, and what the department did, this year, and I'm glad that they've actually launched this thing at the Women Living Heritage Monument, because what we want to do is to really create a platform where it is sustainable. We have it has an element of enterprise development, and also to create that the incubation as well. It's not just craft, but we want to make it to be. You mentioned something that was so important, which is tourists. So it's not just a platform where it's a once-off, but we want to attract tourists, we want to attract people to come and support our crafters, and also to have that incubation space where we I don't want to use the word educate, but to create a business model for them, for crafters, where they know that they can produce those goods and there's a place where they can go to market and sell their craft, know. And yeah.
How much buy-in are you seeing even from just local businesses? And the reason why I asked this, Tshepi, is, I'm thinking of Esther Mahlangu. Her paintings were pretty much catapulted to a global stage because you had, big corporates like Legacy Motor Groups partnering with her, ensuring that her paintings form part of the upholstery of, German-made luxury vehicles. That kind of partnership, being able to really support local artistry, but that requires buy-in. Are we seeing enough of that buy-in for crafters?
The intention of this exhibition and the incubation, it's exactly that, to create a global awareness about our arts and crafts in South Africa, and to get buy-in of corporates and our embassies, and this is why it's based in Pretoria, because we want to attract people to come and support our crafters in South Africa. The intention is really to make it to get cooperatives as well to partner with us going forward.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, the exhibition you mentioned was put on show from about last week. Talk to us about what some of the crafters are saying in seeing their pieces being exhibited in this manner. It has to be exciting, and it has to be, at least creating for them that glimmer of hope around those possibilities that we've been discussing.
Yeah. What's exciting about the current exhibition, it's bringing, merging the legends of craft and emerging artists. You mentioned Esther Mahlangu earlier on. We've got young people who have actually come up with new creative works, that you can see that there's this, sort of the merge of the legendary artists and emerging artists. And, last week when we opened, I was saying to one of the artists, Colin Masangai, who's one of the artists who's exhibiting, who's showcasing at our exhibition, that, looking at his work, looking at Mam Noria's work and other artists that are coming up, showcasing at our exhibition, it just shows that the growth in the arts and crafts space and they were very excited to actually have a platform where they can come and showcase their work and sell their work because that's the most important thing. It's the whole creative economy that we are trying to establish here, where we crafters know that they can, what they produce, they will have a place and they will have a market to serve.
Yeah. Something that I just thought of now, Tshepi, when you were talking about that creative economy, and I guess the question that I was asking myself was, where does it begin? Where does it start? And I'm curious to hear from you where you think that inception should be. I think about when I was still in school and, we were given opportunities to do arts and craft, to kind of feel and interrogate and engage with that creative side. But then you have, society, come in and say, this is the only path to success. And that, is often equated to, going to tertiary and getting a degree and following some or other professional career. And in many ways, I think for many children who were probably in a similar position found whatever love that they had for the arts, diminished in that moment. And I wonder if that isn't another place that we need to sort of direct our attention towards. Our kids, when they're first being introduced to creativity and how they can create themselves, to foster that in them.
It's an interesting question because when I started my career as well in the creative space, it was always looked at as something that is not worthy to pursue, and we need to change that narrative, and this is why the platform that we have created now is actually to create a sustainable business model for arts and crafters in South Africa. I always say it's people come to an exhibition and they see beautiful artworks being exhibited, but there is a value chain that is entailed in us bringing it together. You look at finance, you look at PR, you look at even the selection of the project management of it. It's actually the whole business model that you have to bring together to make it happen. Absolutely. And and we need more people, and even how we when you mentioned about what you said about the selection process, how we select the work and how we exhibit the work, and who are the people who are going to consume this artwork. So it's the whole value chain that we have to look at, and also how we profile artists as well who are being exhibited, so that it's not just a South African product, but it becomes a global product, like you mentioned earlier, Esther Mahlangus, who are now, globally Esther Mahlangu is known. So how do we then bring in the new young people to be at that level?
Yeah, absolutely. Tshepi, thank you so much for this insightful conversation. Hopefully, our viewers will, be, I suppose, infected with, the same desire to get arts and craft out of the periphery, to get it into the spotlight once again. And I think an exhibition like yours is the perfect way to do that. So, Tshepi, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining us on our platform this morning. That was Tshepi Mohlala, who is the project director of the exhibition, The Beautiful Things.